Orji Kalu took the move to ask the police to arrest the youth of Ohafia after they protested against him. These youths came out saying Orji Kalu, being a second-term senator, has done nothing for them. Common water he has not given them. And they were saying protested. Now Orji Kalu is taking the move to arrest them. Anyway, before we get into the news, because Aisha Yesufu has really dissected it, before we get into that, see the headline that has been making wave on the social media. Tinubu was spotted in KB State attending a cultural festival there just for political gain. He was seen with Hope Uzodinma. Hope Uzodinma does not stay in Imo State. He's always in Abuja. That is why governance is lacking in this country. Politicians are really making mess of the citizens. Now, while Tinubu was in KB State, guess what? Boko Haram members were busy parading the people they kidnapped in Kwara State. You know, they came out to tell us that after they massacred almost 200, that they kidnapped few persons, but Boko Haram has come out to confirm that they have 176 persons in their custody after that kidnap. If you've been following my news, you must have seen a headline where a man in Kwara came out begging the Boko Haram people to return his wives and his children, meaning they took his wives, who knows, maybe 2 or 3 wives, and alongside all his children. This man was seen begging that they should return his wives and children to him. Now Boko Haram is parading this video here, and see what they said. You are going to listen to them speak in this video, but see what they said in the video. Boko Haram parades 176 persons kidnapped in Kwara, including kids, and accused the government of propaganda. Now, in the video, they were heard saying this: your government is lying to Nigerians and the whole world by claiming only 20 persons were kidnapped. See, they are more than 100. Boko Haram is confirming that they have more than 100 persons in their custody. And yesterday, they started, parading this video on the social media while Tinubu was seen in KB State celebrating. Since Tinubu returned from Turkey, Tinubu has not deemed it necessary to even address Nigerians as regards to all the terrorist attacks happening across the country. He's busy mobilizing city boys for re-election. All Tinubu is concerned about is re-election. He's going to KB State is political because elections are here. INEC has given that in February next year, the presidential election is going to hold. So, like, we have just 1 year. And Tinubu has started taking the move to start doing political campaign while Nigerians are in the forest. When you look at this video, you see that majority of the people Boko Haram took with them are children. These children are going through hell in the hands of these terrorists. And Tinubu was seen in KB State having fun. So, guys, the kind of heartlessness that the Nigerian politicians possess is next to none. It is just general among politicians in Nigeria. Look at Hope Uzodinma. He's always there. If Tinubu is traveling, he will be in the airport to say bye-bye. If Tinubu is coming back, he'll be at the airport to say welcome. Now he's in KB State. If Tinubu, they are just all about politics. No real governance for the people. So, guys, now this person here now tweeted and said terrorists have released video of 100 captured citizens of the country you claim to govern. Tinubu go they catch fish. That useless mandate go swallow all of honor, because this festival is about fish. It's a cultural festival that has to do with fishing that Tinubu went to witness in KB State. That same KB State, a pregnant woman was killed there yesterday. She tried to resist kidnap, and the terrorists shot her and ended up kidnapping 2 people. Now, this one now happened in Niger State. Like you can see, it says bandits have killed no fewer than 32 farmers in a series of attacks on Tugan Makeri, Konsoko, and Pizza community in Bogu local government area of Niger State. Not fewer than 32. This headline is less than 24 hours ago. That's to tell you that across Nigeria, these people have invaded the country. If you watch the video I posted yesterday, I talked about a middle belton from Plateau State came out lamenting that Fulani terrorists have taken over their church and have converted it to a mosque. This is what the agenda is all about, to Islamize the country. They gradually come in, pursue the villagers to IDP camps, take over their land, rename their village, and now their church has been converted into a mosque. And Tinubu is fighting for re-election. So guys, if this is not if Tinubu has hypnotized Nigerians, I don't know what else is happening. I don't know the kind of spell that is on the people, that people are not speaking up. Many people in IDP camps, and Tinubu has the guts to campaign for the next election. Many people have been driven from their communities, and Tinubu is vying for another term, even though he knows that Nigerians didn't vote for him for the last election. Instead of him to just finish this one and go and rest, and he knows he's not strong, he's not healthy enough to even campaign across the 36 states of this country, but they want to force him on us again. With this level of docility, Tinubu does not speak to Nigerians, he does not care, he does not show, he's not empathic, he does not even care, even if people are kidnapped. It doesn't make sense to him. So guys, this is what is happening. Now I'm going to allow you to take a look at these videos for yourself and let me know what you think. And you're also going to watch Aisha Yesufu touch on Orji Kalu attempting to arrest Ohafia youths after they came out to say that, you know, that he has not done anything for them. Orji Kalu is angry and he's attempting to arrest the youth. So guys, these politicians, I think they've had enough of all this. It's time for Nigerians to really wake up and sack them in the next election. That's why everybody should be involved in asking the National Assembly to pass the mandatory transmission of election results, because that is where their nightmare is. Now take your time, watch these videos and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification for more. Thank you.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah. Da dai waɗannan mutanen su ne wanda aka kama su a Woro. To yanzu za ku je yanayin inda aka kama su da kuma yanayin yawan nasu a bakin su. Ya na aka kama ku? Wace karamar hukuma? Wace jiha ce?
Kwara State.
Kefa, a ina aka kamo ku?
Woro aka kama.
Wace karamar hukuma?
Local government.
Wace jiha?
Kwara State.
Nawa ne adadin naku?
176.
Kefa ma mai jan riga. A ina aka kamo ku?
Woro.
Wace karamar hukuma ne?
Local government Kayana.
A wace jiha ne?
Kwara State.
To kun dai ji adadin naku fa?
176.
To kun ji dai gashi gwamnatin naku ta kafurci da ta karya ga tana ta yi wa mutane karya, ku ba ku wuce 30 ba ko 20 da wani abu.
So this is where Nigeria have gotten to. If you see the way these governments take the campaign for 2027 election, you go see say Nigeria they safe. Anybody where they look Nigeria from abroad, where they look Nigeria from another country, go say, oh, Nigeria is so safe. The way the government focus on the election, the presidential election, you go to see everything good. Now, those are the people that were kidnapped in Kwara State. Those are victims of the Kwara State kidnap. Boko Haram parade people where they kidnap to the world. Do you know the reason why Boko Haram did this? Watch to the end of the video if you understand how, sir. He asked them, how many are you guys here? They said over 100 and something persons. Then he went on, the person recording the video, he went on to say, oh, and your governments are busy lying. Now you people are not up to 50. So the reason why Boko Haram do this thing now, it won't show Nigerian government say you are a liar. We carry more than the people that you are telling the public. Boko Haram don't get the mind to think they do this thing for Nigeria. Meanwhile, the people where we say they're supposed to protect the people are focused 100% on the election. No wonder why I don't see city boy movement for Kwara State. City girls, when I no get zonal coordinator for Kwara, more really know what they go, more really know what they go on them. When I put coordinator for them, and more really see how they be. Kwara State don't they turn Bronu. It started like this. Till today, Bronu never get peace. It don't turn normal thing for there. It started like this. Chibok girls, boom! They carry Chibok girls go. Chibok girls, they can't turn normal thing. They come back, they carry boys. They come back, they carry mothers. Kwara State, slowly. They start from church. CSC church. Boom, 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 boom. That one pass. They do again. Now they go one community, they burn the community. That one be as if nothing happened. That's how they look that time. I just keep quiet. They pack people. Now, see mothers and children in the video. See mothers and children. They feel they won't feed them well. And some of them now, those people, will enact them. First for entry. Plenty of those small girls now. And we get government for Nigeria. But what's in the government they do now? Now election just full everywhere. Don't it concern anybody. Oh. And you were not in Nigeria now. Where you go to see this thing now? You go feel say, okay, Nigeria, they okay. Everywhere good. The people are living well. The people are okay. There's security. There's everything. The way these people focus their energy on the campaign. Again, I ask, who will be the coordinator for City Girls Movement for Kwara States? Abia no girls for there. Now only states where they peaceful when I get coordinator. States where no when I get coordinator. Kwara States as slowly, gently. They don't turn Bruno. Inside 36 states, more than 10 states, Boko Haram don't chop on. They don't collect on. Benue, Insecurity, Edo, terrorism and kidnapping, Kwara, the newest big boys on the list. Now then they there, big boys don't they don't take over that place. There's Jos, there's Zamfara, there's Katsina, there's Borno, sometimes Kaduna, sometimes Nasarawa, sometimes Taraba. May God help us. That's all I can say. The only plea is that President Ballot met Tinubu and the Minister of Defense. Now, to the Minister of Defense, honestly, since you came in, a different talk with just the year left, right, and center. We are going to do this, we are going to do that. We are going to do this, we are going to do that. No working. We are going to give terrorists a run. No working. No working. The way I believe in you now, I don't even feel talk anymore. I don't know what's going on. It was 100% in my brain that when you become the Minister of Defense, everywhere, I don't go hear anything terrorism again. I sat down inside my house, doing sacrifice and praying that you become the Minister of Defense. Here you are. Solve Kwara problem, sir. Minister of Defense, solve Kwara's problem. Please, sir. If not beg you once, we they beg you. You are the Minister of Defense, sir. Please, please. Kwara is suffering. Deploy your men. Deploy your men. Let them take back that state. We are slowly seeing Borno. Slowly. Deploy your men. Deploy your men. Deploy your men. There are kids in that video. There are mothers in that video. Deploy your men, please.
Decided to take a look at one other state. That's a state where we are, Lagos State, and you wouldn't believe it. I would say we found it to be probably the most controversial, or probably the worst, because as a matter of fact, the provisions, I would say the provisions are even far higher than what is contained in that of Akwa Ibom State. Now, should Governor Babatunde Fashola, of course, as we know, he'll be leaving office in 2015. So when he leaves office, what is he supposed to get? Remember, you have former Governor Bola Tinubu, so it means he's enjoying all of this. Now, this is what if Governor Babatunde Fashola leaves office today, this is what he'll be getting. 100% annual basic salary now of incumbent salary for life. So whatever the current governor is earning is what he would be getting, which is 100%. He's going to get that for life. The governor gets 6 new cars every 3 years. I mean, at that rate, you would say, well, the governor may soon become a car dealer, because if you get 6 cars every 3 years, do the calculation yourself. Over the course of, say, 12 years, he would have a lot of cars to sell. Then the deputy governor gets 5 cars every 3 years, and a house. The governor now, this is for the governor. The governor gets a house in Lagos and one in Abuja. And what does the deputy governor get? The deputy governor gets 1 house in Lagos only. Now, the governor, and of course the deputy governor and their family are entitled to free medical health care, and their family free medical health care. Now, for life. There's no cap. There's no provision. It could be 10 million. It could be 5 million. It could be 100 million, 200. No cap at all. Now, there's also provision for cook, steward, gardener, and other domestic staff. All of them pensionable for the governor. And furniture allowance, he gets 300% of annual basic salary every 2 years. House maintenance is 10% of annual basic salary. The governor's security, well, the governor is entitled, the former governor now, he is entitled to 2 SSS operatives, or 1, of course, a female officer, and then 8 policemen. Now, imagine how many policemen we have in this country. Now, you have these former governors getting 8 of them. 8. Just to protect them. Then you can imagine how many policemen would have left to protect the citizens. The deputy governor now gets, for security now, 1 SSS operative and 2 policemen. Now, the governor gets for PA, 25% of annual basic salary, car maintenance, of course, those 6 cars, 30% of annual basic salary, entertainment, 10% of annual basic salary, utility, 20% of annual basic salary, and the drivers who will be driving those 6 cars must be pensionable, and there's no limit to the number. And then you have severance benefits. Well, we don't know, but the governor, if Babatunde Fashola leaves office next year, of course he'll be entitled to a severance benefit. And as I said, former Governor Bola Tinubu is he's getting this pension. When Babatunde Fashola leaves office, he'd be entitled to all of that. And we do not know if the people of Lagos State were actually consulted, if there was a public hearing for the people of Lagos State to make their own contribution. But we just felt it was necessary to bring all of this to you, so that you know what your former governors are getting, and so that you know what the current governors will be getting when they leave office. We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, a lawyer will join us to analyze all of
it. Is good to be with you, ma. Nigeria is in trouble. Nigeria is in crisis. It is unfortunate that the National Assembly, that is supposed to be the hallmark of a democracy, that should protect the interest of the citizens and our well-being, today, under the leadership of Mr. Godswill Obodakpabio, has not only become a rubber stamp Senate. The current Senate is basically an extension of the presidency, operating under the whims and caprices of the executive arm of government. So if President Tinubu asks Senate and House leadership to jump up, the question will be how high. It has become almost an APC town hall, where people are singing and standing upon a mandate which they shall collapse. But that is not even just the problem. The National Assembly today has become a dangerous institution, weaponized against the Nigerian people, and have proven to be only capable of aiding and sustaining corruption and criminality in government. And this INEC budget is just one of so many. So the INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amukpiton, has presented a budget of 873 billion. The question will be, what exactly are we using all this amount of money to do? Is that not what a reasonable legislative arm of government should be overseeing? Because in Nigeria we spend billions of naira, and the tragedy is that at the end of this process, everybody will then sit down and wait for the tribunal and the courts to pick leaders. That is the judicialization of our democracy. But then again, let us go into the details. The INEC chairman said about 200 billion of this money is set aside for electronic technology. Anti-root electronic technology, when the same National Assembly has passed a clause that says where there is no enough network, we should go back to the same manual method that has been giving us glitches and rigged elections. Nigerians have told the INEC chairman what exactly is the technology to be procured with 200 billion. If we do not have confidence in our own telcos to provide network on election day, INEC should should immediately go into a partnership with Starlink so that the 177,000 plus polling units in Nigeria can have Starlink network guaranteed. It will cost less than 100 billion. But somehow nobody is ready to scrutinize because it is all a conduit for criminality. Do you know that in INEC, every election, INEC has been granting contract to certain persons to provide electronic technology? If there is no mischief, and this is not a work between both INEC and the lawmakers, when there was a glitch in 2023, after Mahmoud Yakubu received more than 300 billion and said 150 something billion was for electronic technology, when there was a glitch, anti-roots and Nigerians, who has called the contractors who handled that project to book? Which of the contractors was charged to court? Which of them has been held accountable? We are still budgeting another 200 billion for the same electronic technology. So as it is today, nobody knows the contractors in INEC, who are the persons printing sensitive materials. And guess what? This is not just the budget for INEC. This is for this year, 2026. INEC will have another budget for 2027. If they need a supplementary budget, it will be given. But we do not equate the money we spend vis-a-vis the quality of elections we have. Do you know that from the Senate public hearings, in the Ministry of Solid Minerals headed by Mr. Dele Alake, Nigeria is still budgeting 6 billion plus to pay salaries of staff in Ajaokuta Steel Company. Have you been to Ajaokuta Steel recently? A place that has been overrun with rats and reptiles. So that is what exactly is going on in the National Assembly. Who is approving the funds for INEC and other parastatals? Who is insisting to know exactly what is being done with this money? So we just continue to have this overbloated budget. But for now, the Senate says they are having an extraordinary session on the 17th, which is on Tuesday. Nigerians must insist that the mandatory real-time electronic transmission of result is passed, and not only passed, we want to know exactly what INEC is spending taxpayer money to do, not to spend billions of naira and end up with a glitch. It is unacceptable. If there are free and fair elections in Nigeria today, President Tinubu and his APC gang, their defeat will be announced before 1 p.m. on election day. They know that they have no path to victory in 2027, and that is why they rely on the defected governors who are standing upon a mandate which they shall collapse. You know why? When you do manual coalition, it empowers the gatekeepers in those states, the governors and political office holders, to be able to influence and superintend over those institutions, so they can rewrite figures. You can see the kind of mutilations that happened in Obiakpo and other parts of the country. So that is why you see politicians continue to push for this manual system. Nigerians must know that the more people come out to vote, the more difficult it is to rig. There is a deliberate attempt. That is why you can see everybody. If not, ask yourself the question. President Tinubu has more than 30 governors standing upon a mandate. They have the entire National Assembly. They have the judiciary. They have the police. Only INEC has not declared officially to stand upon the mandate which it shall collapse. Yet they have inaugurated city boys, township boys, everything boys, renewed hunger, renewed rascality, renewed whatever. So why are you still afraid of free and fair elections? Why are you afraid of one single clause, mandatory real-time transmission of results, which INEC has said we can do? It is mischievous. Nigerians must wake up and know that this is your opportunity to choose your leaders. Our lives will not move forward until our votes begin to count. We must insist on it.
Hello, everyone. Is it Ohafia? Ohafia youths are not, in short, they are angry. The way this whole thing is going, I won't be surprised that Orji Kalu cannot even rig his way back into that Senate again. As in, you know, Ohafia youth, Abia people are so angry with him because of the way, of course, he has been on the case of, you know, Alex Oti. And for me, I just love what Abia people are doing. They have been shortchanged for over 20-something years of democracy. Before 24 years of democracy, before they finally got a governor that has their interests at heart and is actually doing things. And many people have gone on, you know, to Abia State. I was never in Abia State before Alex Oti. I think Abia State was the only state that I had not been into until last year, if I'm not mistaken. And I finally went there. I think I've been to all the states, you know, in Nigeria. And I went there. So I thought as if I really did the whole tour. I can't tell you how Abia looked before Alex Oti and after Alex Oti, but I know there are a lot of people who have spoken of how Abia used to look before Alex Oti and how Abia is looking at now. And you see a lot of people giving, you know, good commendation to what Governor Alex Oti is doing. So therefore, it then means that if Governor Alessotri is doing all of these things, you know, he's doing something great for the people. And then you have this politician, especially the number 7 man, I be number what man that number 7 man, there's always number 7 position, number 7 man in the country. They've been on Alex Oti's case as if, you know, they want to remove him. They are saying that Abia State is going to be APC, blah, 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 ha, 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 he, ho, ho, ho. Anyways, Ohafia youths, they had it. It don't reach them for here. And they just say, and this person, Obia Sogudevi, put out this video. He said, I've just seen this video of Ohafia youths protesting against Senator Orji Kalu and chanting, "We don't need you again." This is coming a few days after Abia North women protested against Orji chanting death against him. I hope they make good on their threat, according to him. But you see, they say they don't want again, and that's the thing. It's a powerful message. People might think that, oh, these politicians are getting away with everything, whatever. But people are also getting extremely frustrated and extremely, you know, angry in the way things are going. And so let me just leave you here to watch this particular video.
Tension rose today along Secretariat Road in New Zone 9, Ohafia, as dozens of youths from Ohafia staged a protest over what they described as persistent political interference in their community, carrying placards with bold inscriptions reading, "OUK, leave Ohafia alone." The protesters marched through the area, chanting and calling on former Abia State Governor Orji Kalu to stay away from what they say are the internal political affairs of Ohafia.
My name is Kalogro from Ohafia. We said we don't need Orji Kalu again in Ohafia. He has not done anything for us. No road, no water. We are suffering. We have everything. We have no light. Ohafia youth as a whole, we are saying that all you guys should leave us alone. Let him stop using us. We don't need him. Get out of fun. Take a block, do bridge. That bridge we do, don't spell finish. We don't want to see all this in Ohafia again.
We are here in protest against the petition brought against Ohafia youth, labeling Ohafia youth IPOB members. We don't need him again.
As of the time of this report, there has been no official response from Orji Kalu.
So, after that whole video that you saw, right, the people coming out to protest and all of that, guess what happened? I'm very cool. Senator Orji Kalu decided that he was going to petition the Nigerian police against Ohafia youth who were protesting against him. The police then summoned the youth and tried to lock them in a cell, but the youth revolted. The police shot tear gas to disperse them. This Abia Sagusani say trouble for Kalu. I'm going to show you a video, but before I go, it's to tell you that a whole lot is happening, no? A whole lot is happening. Maybe what I would do is I will just show you the video at the end of this video, this particular video, where the youth are saying, "Oh yeah, bring it on. We come and shoot us if you want to shoot us." Do all of that. This is a message to any politician that is thinking. Nigerian people have had it here. They're very angry. And for those who think that, oh, it's going to be 2027 is going to be business as usual, because some people feel that, oh no, they have the monopoly of violence, or they have one thing or the other. I tell you, it's going to shock them like no man's business. It's going to be something that really takes them, unawares in the way that things will go. These are people who are showing their frustration. And one of the things for me that I see, I think these politicians that we have, they are not reading the room. Either they are not reading the room, or they don't have capacity to read the room. This was the same thing that 2023 was all about, where they refused to read the room. But this time, citizens are saying, look, last time you rigged us out, this time we are waiting for that rigging. And I'll give you an example with what happened, in the match that happened. I think it was Morocco and Senegal that had that final, I don't know, is it Morocco and Senegal again? That had that final African Nation Cup. You saw what happened. Morocco did anyhow. They did that anyhowness with Nigeria. When Nigerians play semi-final with them, we're thinking, oh, we're going in, we're just playing gentlemanly, whatever. But the way they behaved, being underhanded and stuff like that, it gave the Senegalese, when they saw them, they were like, okay. We've seen what you've done there. Now we are going to come. And it was all war out. And that's what 2027 is going to be about. 2023 election was Nigeria versus Morocco. 2027 election is going to be, Senegal versus Morocco. And you saw that thing. Anything that they are bringing, they will end up seeing it exactly the way that it's meant for them to see. So I'm calling on all Nigerians here, understand. No dull, stand your ground. On this one, it is time for Nigeria to win. Nigeria has been on the receiving end for too long. This time is the time for every one of us to be able to say, hey, we won't allow any howness, to continue to happen the way that they were saying. So I'm going to leave you here and just take a look at this video.
Now they see shoot now, shoot. Descend you. Okacha. It's okay, don't worry, it's okay.
Are you still going to go ahead with the protest?
Definitely. In fact, at this point, it should be a national mobilization by Nigerians against elements in government who are hell-bent on subverting the will of the people. It is now clear that a section of persons in government, particularly persons in the ruling party, are doing everything to assault democracy and ensure that the will of the people do not prevail. Because what level of mischief will make a National Assembly, who should be helping to ensure that there is transparency and accountability in the electoral process, begin to argue on a position that INEC, the electoral umpire, has already concluded? The issue of electronic transmission of result and electronic technology is already foreclosed by INEC. Even as far back as 2019, you can watch and listen to videos by the outgone INEC chairman Mahmoud Yakubu, who, by the way, has been confirmed to become an ambassador today, that INEC has done all their feasibility studies and have been prepared for electronic transmission of results in real time and only needed a law to back it up. The only reason why the 10th Assembly led by Godswill Akpabio is putting a caveat is because they rely on that caveat to do whatever they need to do during the elections. INEC has presented a budget of over 800 billion, and according to that budget, they have earmarked about 200 billion for electronic technology. I beg Nigerians in the name of God, what technology is INEC preparing for with 200 billion? If the Senate President does not believe in the capacity of our Nigerian telcos, MTN and all of them, INEC should immediately go into a partnership with Starlink. We have about 177,000 polling units across Nigeria. A deal to provide Starlink in real time in all polling units will take less than 100 billion. Because as far as 2027 is concerned, we will not leave transmission of result to the discretion of INEC. It was the same issue that caused the glitches in 2023. Until date, we do not have an explanation to what caused the glitch. So we will not allow the 10th Assembly to ensure that they capture and begin to take Nigeria hostage with a clause that will only aid and sustain electoral malpractice and rigging. And just as Comrade Showore said, India, a country that has more than 300 million registered voters, do not only do electronic transmission, they do electronic voting. The voting population in India is almost more than the total number of persons in Nigeria. And we are saying that this issue is already concluded by INEC. Why is the Senate arguing on behalf of the electoral umpire? So as it is today, we are mobilizing and calling on all Nigerians, civil society, opposition leaders, including people like Ogasho Wore and everybody. Nigerians must insist whatever that the Senate president is doing, they are playing a script from the villa. President Tinubu has been quiet, but it's not neutral. They want to drag this thing to the end of February so that at the end it becomes late and stale. We must reject it. Every Nigerian must ensure that our votes must count, and it must begin by getting the new bill to be passed, and not just passed without mischief.
You want civil society leaders like Mr. Showore and others to join in the protest. We did see that His Excellency Peter Obi joined you. We saw that Mr. Rotimi Amechi, His Excellency Mr. Rotimi Amechi joined you as well. What is the importance of these political leaders, joining you? Because there are those who have advocated against this, saying that it might in some measure be politicized. So what is the importance, or do you see the importance in these political leaders joining you?
Everybody should be political in a country. I mean, these are the persons who contested elections in 2023. When they lost, they all were headed to the court, meaning they disagreed with the outcome of that election, meaning somebody did not do something well and they believed in their capacities to win, such that they contested the outcome of that election. So it is only natural that if as leaders in the opposition, you believe that a system must be made efficient for the votes of the people to count and not repeat the same shenanigans of last year, then you will be at the forefront. Because let us not forget that the same President Tinubu who is in power today, in 2014 they were on the streets on the same issue, holding INEC by the jugular. Tinubu protested, Buhari protested, Lai Mohammed Odigi Oyegun, the former APC chairman. So therefore, today as it is, the persons who want to lead Nigeria must prove that it is not all about just winning an election, but that you mean well enough for this country to stand with the people. The Nigerian people have experienced tremendous voter apathy. We cannot have a situation where 93 million persons, according to INEC, will register to vote. 87 million will receive PVCs, and less than 30 million will come out to vote. Mr. Bola Tinubu is seated in the villa with less than 9 million votes. In what examination does a person score less than 50% and is promoted to the next class? It only happens in Nigeria, where a person will have a mandate of less than 20% or 25% of the country. So any person who is well-meaning, it does not matter whether they say we are political, we are not political, everybody must come out and fight for the benefits and the survival of Nigeria. If the persons who are destroying Nigeria are in a political party, why should those who are fighting for a better Nigeria not also take a political position? So this is not about political parties. This is not it is just about well-meaning Nigerians who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, coming together to mobilize and say enough. The foundation of our democracy are free, fair and credible elections. There is no country where votes count, where leaders will continue to act irresponsibly. There is no country where votes count, where more than 100 persons will be killed in Kwara, and instead of the president to visit Kwara, he rather attended the wedding of a minister for state for defense. We say enough. We must hold leaders accountable, beginning from the ballot box and then strengthen our institutions. So all Nigerians of goodwill who mean well for this country are a part of this demand. Let our votes count. Forget about political parties now.
Thank you very much, Peter. Let's bring the conversation back to our studio here. Mr. Showore, you've been part and parcel of electioneering. I remember you in June 12, 1993, which is adjudged to be the fairest and fairest elections in Nigeria's history. Now let's fast forward to present-day Nigeria. Yesterday at the Senate in Abuja, the new helmsman at INEC, Professor Joshua Mufita, defended what will be Nigeria's most expensive elections, 800 billion plus. And they say to whom much is given, much is expected. Now that we've thrown so much money at it, and there's a new man whose CV looks quite good on paper, but has yet to be battle tested. What are your expectations? Are you hopeful that, perhaps we might get to the same heights we got to in 1993, looking 40 years down the line, 30 years?
Well, I'm one of the leaders of political parties who met with Professor Mufita, and I can tell you that he's not tested yet. And he seems to still be revealing in what I think is absolute naivete about the electoral system in Nigeria. He was just there talking and listening to himself. When I told him when I was leaving the meeting, I said, I've heard that you are a priest, you've been a lawyer, a university professor, but you never had this kind of job before. So you better go and work, because were there with all these political parties. They were praising him as usual. And I told them, these same guys praise your predecessor. They praise everybody that sits on your seat. That's almost the nature of Nigerians. So my worry is that he came in at the time that they had already set up INEC to do whatever they want to do. It was the last part of the jigsaw puzzle that came and sat on that seat. I don't see him doing much. It's always also up to the Nigerian people to determine whether they want free and fair elections. There's never been that INEC, as we know it now, the electoral body as an institution, ever done free and fair elections before. Except even during June 12th, it was only free and fair because the military wasn't expecting the Nigerian people to stand for free and fair elections.
So when you say only Nigerians can determine if they want free and fair elections, in what way and what can they do? Because I believe many Nigerians want free, fair, and credible elections.
Oh, absolutely. What I find very interesting about Nigerians is that even though progressively they've lost interest in electioneering, I think they're still interested in democracy. And that's why you see the excitement. I think it's the last piece of our ego that's still alive. It's like, you know, I'm going to, even if it is misguided or misplaced, that I can choose who is going to be my leader or who is going to rule over me. So that means that people have to get back interested in the democratic process, genuinely interested in democratic process. When I say democratic process is not elections alone. That's some big mistake people make. You can actually elect someone who may not be your choice and decide democratically to stand on the day of his swearing in and say you don't want him anymore. He will never be sworn in. People don't know this, that you can vote with several parts of your body. You can vote with your brain, your tongue, then you can vote with your feet. And that is where protest politics comes in. And I'm glad that Peter is talking about politicians. It was great to see politicians become protesters. They used to mock us. you know, when in 2023 the Labour Party was rigged out of the election, and they were complaining to me. I said, go and protest. If Peter Obi had led a protest in 2023, we probably would have had a different outcome because all his obedient members said they want to protest. You have to protest. Even the judiciary do listen to protests when they are making decisions. Judges are part of the society. But if you don't protest, you let them do whatever they want to do with regards to the outcome of the results. So now that they have realized that protest is necessary to fight for things, they're welcome. Even though, you know, I don't like the fact that they only protest when it affects their interests, you know, personally, which makes it look like they're very selfish people. You want to see them protest for other things too. You don't want to see them protest for education, protest against fuel, scarcity.
But Mr. President protested for fuel subsidy, him, Tunde Bakari, the Occupy Nigeria protest.
That's what I'm saying, you know. But you knew that when they were doing fuel subsidy protests, they already set their sight on 2015 election. That was what our protest eventually turned out to be. They already knew that the outcome of Occupy Nigeria would take them close to what they have always wanted. And also, the protest that led to 2023 was NSAS. Politicians did not protest, but they hijacked the NSAS gains. You know, some on the right, some on the left. So this time around, whatever protests were got, because it looks to me in recent history that a seismic shift happens almost after a major uprising. So if there's going to be another one, then we should manage the outcome because the politicians are so smart, you know, I mean, very shrewd. I won't call it smartness, but, you know, very shrewd, deceptive, and very manipulative when it comes to hijacking the gains of mass uprising.
So do you think the politicians who are currently joining will maybe hijack the gains of these protests?
Why do you think they're joining? They want to be seen as aligning with the people. I mean, this is probably Amechi's first protest. You know, they used to tell me that he protested in the university. But you could tell that when he got there, it was something new, you know. I mean, you don't come to a protest just like the emir of...
with security details.
And bodyguards, you know. And same thing with Peter Obi, he just dropped his and then he turned back and said goodbye to everybody, please. You've seen me, I've marked the register. But it's a good starting point.
No, I mean, unlike you, where, I mean, we had videos of you even running to ensure that
tear gas.
You avoid, because you are fully involved, right?
You see, people don't understand that when you want to do a protest, you have to make sure it's successful. So if you see me going to a protest and I'm wearing agbada, I'm not ready for a protest. But if you see me wearing sneakers, jeans, it means that if you are displaced in one place, you have to move to the other place. That eventually became the most successful protest, the nnamdi Kanu protest, because we were able to relocate from Transcorp, where the police had already laid siege, and arrested the leaders. If I had been arrested by 8 a.m., the protest would have just ended right there. But because we relocated to different parts of the city, it became a very, very successful protest. You know, the flights disruptions, and the government would never forget that protest. So that's how to protest. They should come to our school and learn how to protest.
Okay. All right, let me go back to Peter. There is a major concern here. Peter, you were live with us here in the studios in Lagos. And during our conversation, I think, was it last week or thereabout, you had mentioned, like a seer, that you are certain that INEC would bring a budget, a bloated budget of 1 trillion naira. That's what you said. But this morning, as we speak, there's 873 billion naira that INEC has presented before the Senate, getting ready for the 2027 elections. I would like to hear your take before we come back to the studio to hear Mr. Shore's take on the budget. But what's your take on 873 billion naira compared to what was in 2023?
I mean, governance in Nigeria is organized criminality, because you need to go and look at the details of the budgets of almost every agency, not only INEC. And then, is it not a shame that in Nigeria we budget these huge sums of money? For Mahmoud Yakubu in 2023, it was about 300 and something billion with another supplementary budget. And then now Amupito is taking about 870 billion. This is for 2026. INEC will still have another budget for 2027. If INEC needs a supplementary budget for the election, it will be added. But guess what? We spend these billions of naira on a charade, and then we all then sit and wait for the judiciary to pick our leaders. That is the judicialization of democracy in Nigeria, where people spend money on a fraudulent process that people, even those who are contesting, do not believe in, because they know they are also saving enough money to now head to the tribunal to begin to exchange hands with judges and all of that. So we will ask the question, when INEC says we are spending 200 billion on electronic technology, what exactly are the details of electronic technology? Who approves this budget and what exactly do they do? Mind you that throughout INEC's elections every year, I have mentioned it in videos on my platform, different companies, some trade companies and all of that have been awarded contracts in the tone of hundreds of millions going to billions to provide electronic technology. If in 2023 persons were given those contracts and somehow there was a glitch, my brothers and my sister, which of those companies or contractors were taken to court? Which of them have been invited to explain to Nigerians the money that was released to you by INEC? What exactly did it do and why did it fail? Who are the contractors handling projects in INEC? What is the transparency and the bidding process? Are we sure that it is not politicians who are being given contract to print electoral sensitive, so-called sensitive materials? How is INEC spending the money that is given to it? What independent body is auditing INEC? Are you sure if we carry out a thorough audit on INEC, we will not see the hand of Jacob and the voice of Esau screaming in INEC? It is a lot that is going on in Nigeria. We are looking for more than 200 trillion in NMPC. NIMASA is there, the Ministry of Power is there. If Nigerians do not fix this election issue by 2027, the criminality in government will be consolidated on. And that is why, for me, I'm pleading with everybody in opposition, we must unite at this point. Civil society, Nigeria, everybody must see how we can build areas of consensus and build bridges to work together. Imagine, a Nigeria where you can see maybe a Showore Senate presidency and an Obi or any other candidate presidency. Imagine people working together, finding common ground to work together, because all of these figures and things you are seeing are figures and documents of absolute criminality. But you can never hold anybody to account as far as these same persons are still in government. That is why for me, my focus is elections. We must fix that one.
All right. Just to piggyback off what Peter has said, he said his focus is on elections, even though the protest is to ensure that the transmission is done in real time. And that's also a sentiment you shared earlier, when he said this is not your actual focus, that your major focus will be on elections. And when we come back from this break, I'd like you to explain what you mean by your focus being on the elections. For our YouTube audience, please drop your comments and your thoughts in the chat box. We're streaming via News Central TV Live, and we'll be right back to continue this conversation after the break. Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're still looking at the elections, the requirement for electoral reforms ahead of 2027. And we're still joined this morning by the convener of Revolution Now movement, Mobilization, as well as human rights and electoral reform advocate Peter Aka, who's joining us virtually from our studio in Abuja. Before we went on the break, Peter was talking about how his focus isn't just about electoral reforms, but elections. And at the start of this conversation, that was also a line that you shared. When you say that your focus is on the elections itself, what do you mean?
Well, first, let me correct one thing Peter said. He was saying that, I want to see Nigeria of Showore Senate president. No, Showore is not going to be a Senate president and will be your president. It's Showore's presidency and Obi's retirement. I want to retire all the politicians who have put this country in the condition that it is today. And that's why I welcome them when they start protesting, because this is just their start. The people who are doing the heavy lifting in making the country are the ones who deserve to run and lead it, including Peter himself. And that's what I told Peter when we got to the reason I didn't come the first day is I don't want to hear that we protest and when it's time for election you recommend the people who sit back and comfort in their home to lead you. And when they misrule the
heavy lifting.
Yes. Yeah. When they misrule the country, you call Showore out again as if we are grass cutters. So I want to correct that. But the second aspect of it when I talk about election is not that, you see, one thing you must understand is that Nigerians have progressively moved away from election. This last 2023 election had in the history of Nigeria the lowest participation. 28% of registered voters participated in election. That's telling you that people no longer believe in elections. But election, as I see it, is one of the alternatives for my own revolutionary idea of taking this country. We can have it by the ballot or by the people. We can resolve this anywhere in which it still means or feels that people still believe in elections as their own way of changing their socio-political situations by changing leaders. But if we don't want to deceive ourselves, more and more people understand that elections alone cannot solve Nigeria's problem. We've seen what elections, even where elections are transmitted, election results are transmitted as instantly as they're happening. It hasn't produced the kind of leaders we want.
It's not the silver bullet.
It's the same, yes. And at any rate, what is transmitted is what has already been rigged from EC8. That's why I said it's just a screenshot transmission of election results. But if we want to believe in elections, it must be total, it must be transparent, they must be credible. So that if anybody walks, one of the things I don't want to hear about election is that after we spend all these billions, you just have some 7 judges sit in a corner and decide who is the president of the country or the governor of a state. Those are not elections, those are selections. And that's what I'm against. I believe in democracy, I believe in free and fair elections, but I don't think that where we are is even going to guarantee us anything, because these guys have completely hijacked. We're talking about INEC budgets just now. So one of the things that people don't pay attention to is what INEC gets involved in that it has no business doing. Printing those plastics they call voters card are used twice every 4 years. INEC should have no business, printing ID cards. Maybe the only time you use it is boarding a plane or, a vehicle. So if you already have NIPSI printing card, you have a driver's license, you have international, you should be able to present any of these or at least 2 of them that would identify you. So if you get rid of printing of plastics by INEC, you will reduce their budget. And if you go electronic, you reduce a lot of logistic issues, because instead of carrying ballot papers and papers, you just carry a massive board of election, electronic vote machine. And when you get there, you press in your number and name. It brings through your name, and it provides you with your what's it called? Ballot for yes. And when you're done, you press. It will ask you, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" It checks with you again. You say yes. You print it, and it sends to your phone a copy of it, or it sends to your email. So if there's an argument about who you voted for, you have a copy. Same way you have a copy of when you do a transaction sending money to people.
What you're painting is an ideal picture. And many people would argue that our current realities don't support this.
No, I don't support the argument that our current reality.
When they say that
our current reality,
look at NIBS, the bank transfers. Right?
Yeah, of course. Our current reality supports banks. Look, I was making an allusion yesterday at another interview that in the past, if you go physically to collect money from the bank, you have to carry a bucket of water to count $1 million naira. You can't count. The bank person can still steal 5,000 out of it. You won't know. But today, electronically, the moment you transfer, there's nobody who can steal between what you transfer and what the person gets. That's what the electoral did. And then you can also deploy blockchain technology. And the people who are saying that we're not there yet are living electronic life. All right? They are flying 30,000 feet, robbing feet, and sending pictures from there to the rest of us. They are already traveling in the space. They are living in mansions where just to turn on their gas. Yes. They just use, the fingerprints to enter their houses. They use it in flushing their toilets. But they're telling you, you can't use electronic voting. In 2026. Don't let us keep giving these excuses.
I'd like to bring Peter Acker back into the conversation. And since your focus is elections, Omoyele Sowore mentioned something very instructive and sobering. After spending almost ₦1 trillion on elections, people better show up for the party. He said that in 2023, the turnout was an abysmal 28%. So we had about 93.47 million people registered voters, and only 24.9 million people actually voted. How do we reverse this? How do we improve the numbers? And there's also a saying that the more people show up and turn out for elections, the harder it is to rig. Can you help us shed more light on that?
Look, a good product sells itself. If people believe that their votes count, automatically you are addressing issues of voter apathy. Once a majority of the citizens in the country believe that what I come out to do is a waste of time, people continue to sit it out. But I agree with you to the extent that Nigerians must understand that this idea of voter apathy is deliberate. The current systems and the political class want a society where people continue to be so disenfranchised and disillusioned and discouraged, so that the lesser persons turn out to vote, the easier it is for you to rig, for you to save money to buy votes, and for you to carry out your shenanigans and announce a winner. If millions of people mobilize and turn out to vote, it becomes even more difficult to rig. But between now and that point where millions of people will have confidence, we must carry out these actions we are carrying out, which will be what? Letting people know that there is a process that can institute or institutionalize transparency into the system. Let Nigerians believe that, look, come 2027, we have done certain things to ensure that the votes will count. But we are also not going to sleep on our own axis. We are going to call out Nigerians to mobilize to not just vote, protect and defend their votes. And that is what brought me to, to respond to what Oga Sowore said. The instance I gave about the Sowore presidency and Obi is an analogy or a scenario of collaboration, because it will the West say it is insanity to repeat the same action and expect a different result. We will either ask ourselves, do we want to make progress as a country, or we want to continue this infighting and then give access to the criminals in power to continue to lead? So it is either we want to fight and take out the ruling party, or the persons who we do not agree with, or we also become the opposition of the opposition, because we cannot continue in this, B is bad, this is bad, that everybody is bad. We have to come together and agree What are the common grounds? Where can we work together? I can also imagine an Olive Emodi House of Reps where she becomes speaker, a Johansson Senate presidency, a Peter Aka Senate presidency. But before we get to that point, we must agree, because we are not even in Rome or in Mecca, where we call holy lands, where there is no corruption or where there are no bad people. But the question is, as Nigeria is today, how do we move from here? Do we continue this personal fighting, or do we come together, look at our common interests, and then when you begin to think of how to hold personalities accountable? Because everybody we complain about today, we complain about them because there have been no punishment for bad behavior. There is no deterrence. So if those persons who can ensure punitive measures continue to stay out of government, and we continue to talk outside, how do we reform the system? So we must find a way where credible people get into the process. Everybody must not become a president. We can also take over the National Assembly, where we carry out real oversight and not become this rubber stamp kind of a Akpabio Senate, where they can borrow money from Pampe to clear money points. They can stand on the mandate which they shall collapse. They have become actually an APC town hall. We must decide whether we want to change this system or we just want to continue to play around. So for me, that is the procedure. Nigerians must make sure that they know that if you come out to vote, your vote will count. If you chose and insist that it should count. And even now, we can use that energy to ensure that every legal and legislative loophole is plugged, so that we do not end up in court. Let those who want to rig election go to court. That court has become a general hospital. We only go there to take bandages on wounds without anesthesia. Votes must count at the polling unit, and the accurate result must be announced.
Okay. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, Mr. Shore, we'll be looking at the management of this entire process, especially from the Senate. Some have pointed fingers at the senators when we saw the divide. Some have said that the senators are well aware of what's going on and they seem not to do anything. In other words, they're not representing the people. Well, let's go on a quick break. Stay with us. Breakfast Central continues shortly. Welcome back. We're still having the conversation, heated one, if you may call it, concerning Nigeria's drive towards having a free and fair election, with INEC releasing a budget and not forgetting to the call for electronic transmission. Our guest is Omoyele Shore, live in the studio, and Peter Eke, also live in Abuja studio. But let's come back to the big question I wanted to ask before the break. Aside from a few senators who had gathered together and held a quick press conference stating clearly that they were not in support of what is being spread across different public sectors, what do you make of the senators, those who have fought against electronic transmission? And even though their names and numbers were flying on social media and their constituents and so on were told to call them and put them to order, do you think that the senators are also part of Nigeria's electoral problems? I'm going to start with you, Peter Eke, before we come back to Omoyele Shore, who also has more questions to also touch on.
They are accomplices and the foundational basis of the problem. And the 109 senators of the 10th Assembly should be thoroughly and decisively ashamed of themselves in the way and manner they have conducted themselves, and are watching and standing by, either standing by or being direct and active participants in the assault against democracy in Nigeria. Senator Inaya Abaribe stood up on the floor of the Senate and had put up a motion that senators should vote individually so that Nigerians will know who exactly is for and against. But somehow that motion was withdrawn. If you say that a majority of you in the 109 of you chose real-time mandatory electronic transmission of results, but somehow a handful were able to, led by Senate President Akpabio, were able to undermine that process, why did you not begin impeachment procedures against the Senate President? Why are leaders who were sent to represent the aspirations of the people acting as though they are subordinates to the Senate President? Is the Senate President higher than other senators, or they together decided to elect a senator? So if you are seated there and you are trying to push the blame, oh, I supported, oh, I did not support, all 109 of you have failed Nigerians. You have an opportunity to go back and do the right thing. It is important for you all to have a roll call and say, look, let us know who stands for this and who stands for what. And that is why we need to have people in this assembly who will do away with this kind of situation of the ayes and nays have it, aye if you don't support, say nay, Let every statistics be put out. Let Nigerians know, as it is done in civilized societies, who voted for, what is your voting history, what do you stand for in parliament. Not people just going there, taking money. We are spending billions of naira, servicing the lives of persons who add no value to our own process. And at the end, they begin to push it to us. Oh, we should go and hold them accountable. You were sent there to hold government accountable. That is the job of members of the National Assembly, to carry out oversight on every other arm of government. So I do not take that excuse of some of them did this, some of them did not do that. If you are a majority, then prove that you are a majority. Nigerians, our questions or our demands are not ambiguous. It is simple. We need transparency in the electoral process. INEC has confirmed that this is possible. You only need to legislate to back up what INEC has said it is already doing. Please, why this mischief? So the 109 senators, if you have an opportunity, you have an opportunity to do the right thing. Between now and 24th, if you don't want to do the right thing, Nigerians must insist and mount the necessary pressure, because the power of the people must be greater than any sycophant in power.
Now on 24th is just 10 days. We just have a 10-day window. How much impact can we achieve in 10 days? Let me come to Mr. Omoyele, and then we can come to you, Peter.
So this is part of the reason why I said the changes we need must be greatly, greatly fundamental. There is no reason why in 2026 there is no electronic voting on the floor of the Senate, so that every senator, we can see how they are transparently voting on the floor of the Senate. So this whole decision we are taking, we must not take it lightly. The other issue I want to raise is that, you see, these senators know what they are doing. And this is a survival game, because they know that if there are transparent, credible, free and fair elections in this country, 99% of them cannot be senators in Nigeria.
Yes, very correct.
There's no country in the world that will tolerate this bunch of loafers to run their National Assembly. And that brings me also to my position earlier, that this idea that we should tolerate just anybody because you need an opposition, that was what pushed people to be voting for characters who ran to Labour Party, and also now in the Senate, sabotaging the democratic process. You have senators who ran on the back of people like Peter and the rest of them, who said Labour Party was the best, and you know, it was the greatest collection of people with great character. Where are your House of Rep members that you use Labour Party to put in the National Assembly? Where are your senators you use Labour Party to? Yes, even at Parrade that you are talking about, you have just exposed him online now. All of them are dubious people. I say this categorically. I know all of these guys, and that is why you cannot see me in an opposition coalition for the sake of opposition. You cannot see me in an opposition coalition with a Babashir Lawal, or with an El-Rufai, or with Malami, who 2 years ago, we're not talking about 10 years ago, we're not talking about 1993. These are guys that were killing this country 2 years ago. I mean, as of 2023. They are the ones who brought the country to the sorry pass. And you want me to go and say, well, everybody cannot be saints. I'm not looking for saints. But the people who refuse to repent as sinners have no basis to become pope. That's my position. And I'm just replying to him on a religious basis, because they use that. You see, Nigeria has over 200 million people. You cannot tell me that the only great people among them are the same 10,000 people that has failed and failed them as governors, as senators over the years, and that we cannot find great people amongst 24 million minus 93 million. Let's go back to the majority that have been silent, who have lost interest. And the only way we can inspire them to come back to fight for our electoral campaigns is to present quality candidates. You cannot present the guy who got a contract to construct a road, did not do it, back to me and said, let's tolerate him. Or the guy who sent me to jail. You want me to tolerate him so that I'll go back to jail again, or my children will be sent to jail by his own children. There's no country who develops on the back of that. Even the US today, where everybody is afraid of Donald Trump, some people stood up to him in Minnesota. All right?
And he backed out.
And he backed out. By now, they have almost folded his eyes operation, at least in Minnesota. Now, he's saying that 700 of these officers, his goons, are taken out of Minnesota. It's because people did not back down. But if it was here, we would be praying to God to appeal to Trump to leave Minnesota. But Trump is not going to listen to God because Trump believes in God.
Okay, before we wrap up this one, I want us to go to what happened yesterday. I don't know if everyone's on the election, because I want us to talk about budget presentation and what happened between our lawmakers and some of our ministers. Let's get your sense of, some of the issues that happened. We saw what happened with Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the Minister of Steel. We saw what happened, the sort of face-off between a number of the lawmakers. Look, what do you make of the budget presentation?
Yeah, that one is meant for, influencers. Any serious House, Congress, Assembly is meant to be a place of passion. People are supposed to fight.
So guys, there have been a whole lot of reactions on the social media. Now let me take you through some of them, especially as regards to 32 farmers that were slain. This person, Jagaban back. Now, more people have been killed since APC government than the entire PDP government. I don't even know why the terrorists prefer APC. 32 farmers slaughtered, like 32 farmers shattered, children who will wait for fathers that will never return. How did farming become a death sentence in our country? Oh, Baba. How did farming become a death sentence in our country? It's horrific. This is horrifying and underscores a massive failure of protecting citizens. 32 lives lost to bandits attack in an unacceptable. This is horrifying and underscores a massive failure in protecting citizens. 32 lives lost to bandit attack is unacceptable, and it raises serious questions about the effectiveness of security forces and government policies in vulnerable areas. Nigerians deserve proactive measures, not reaction statements, to prevent such recurring tragedies. Accountability and immediate actions are needed. Technical Nigeria is at war. Okay, technically, Nigeria is at war. The level of killings by bandit, Islamic terrorists in Nigeria is alarming. Today is Niger. Tomorrow it will be elsewhere. They attack with so much ease. U.S. African Command, we need America's support. This killing is too much. But our government is here talking about 2027 election, why people lives mean nothing. And this person here is meanwhile the president is in Algongu smiling for cameras as thousand fishes in the river. The disconnect is painful. Farmers are not soldiers. They don't carry guns. They don't have security. They just want to work and work the land and feed their families. But in Nigeria today, going to farm is a risk, a gamble, a potential death sentence. Tugan Makari fishers took that risk. Hey, God. Konsoko farmers took that risk. Pizza farmers took that risk, my father. Hey, how many more? 32 of them won't take it again. How many more will stop farming altogether? How many more communities will abandon their land? How much more food will we need to import because farmers are too afraid to farm? The bandits are just killing people. They are killing agriculture and nobody seems to notice. Oh God, my father. And some people are still standing on the mandate. Nigerians are not ready to reclaim their country from imposters. How many presidents do we have in this country? Oh, God, help. This is really so heart-touching. You guys love sharing sad news. And it really drives one frustration out there. You guys love sharing sad news. And it really drives one to frustration, as there will be more than 100 killings before the government gathers the courage to say hi. It's always a recurring decimal. The issue is when next will it happen, because it will definitely going to happen again without any commensurate reprisal attack from the government. And this other person said, that's really sad. And that's one factor leading to the high cost of food. We are thankful. Goods prices came down though, but the action of those bandits is not encouraging farmers to get to the farm at all. We pray for peace. This is yet another heartbreaking escalation of banditry in Nigeria Middle Belt region, with at least 32 farmers killed in a coordinated attack on Tugan, Makere, Okonkoso, and Pisa in Bogu local government, Niger State. The insecurity keeps deepening the humanitarian and food crisis. Is in already vulnerable rural communities across Nigeria. Hey, this is really so sad. We hear about killings daily in Nigeria, but the Nigerian military are always positioning that they killed and neutralized terrorist camps, discover arms, and so on. But the same terrorists they claim to kill are still the ones we hear killing are still the ones killing innocent people in Nigeria. One man and one party turning the country into a massive graveyard on border. Sometimes I wonder where the humanity conscience will kick into in some people. So guys, it's really pathetic, what is happening in the country currently. Tinubu was seen, the president washing fishermen in Agungo with an open mouth in Kebbi State now. So guys, Tinubu was seen opening his mouth to see how the people were doing the fishing. It's like a cultural activity, a festive period. This person is devastating, 32 lives lost, families shattered, and yet the cycle of violence keeps repeating. How much longer will our farmers live in fear while trying to feed the nation? This one no consignee boy. Now Agongo Fisher Festival being priority for now. God, please have mercy on this country. Innocent people are just dying every day. So guys, it's really pathetic, heartbreaking, very touching. While the secret cows are arrogantly talking about wiretapping the conversation of National Security Advisor, it's either the government is complicit or it doesn't have a political will to destroy these maroon killers. Politics has taken precedence over national interests. Shedding of innocent blood in the land will attract costs in the land and perpetrators and their seeds. No wonder how some states in the country work hard. They cannot prosper until their leaders repent and cry for God's mercy. I'm just wondering, people don't even care about the anger of God anymore. They are not bandits, but Mahmuda group, a faction of Boko Haram. And this other person here said, Fulanis have finally unleashed themselves on the country. Kudos to Gumi and Yusuf. We need more of such type of need. We need more. The North loves their oppressors. They love their bandits. They are enjoying their attention. It's a marriage made from heaven. No, we don't want that, please. I can't support the killing. Majority of these people being killed are Christians in the North, It's mostly the Christian communities that are being attacked. Yet, one person will be rooting for Tinubu to win next election. Nobody is talking about those bandits that were given a special award and were integrated into the army. Who knows what their missions are? So guys, listening to all this news, you know that Nigeria is gone. This person has said, what is the government waiting for? Not to have passed the law on state police. It will go a long way to reduce the workload on the military, which is already overstretched. Honestly, what is Tinubu's government waiting for state police to happen? What are they waiting for? Bayo Nonoga, are you seeing this news? Are you seeing the news? Minister for Defense, are you seeing this news? Are you seeing the news that 32 farmers have been killed in some villages there in around Niger State? What measures are you taking? Have you seen the news that Boko Haram said they have about 176 people in their custody? Most of them are children. In what country do children deserve this kind of treatment at their age in the hands of terrorists? Nigeria is gone. Rescue this country now. Say no to APC. Say no to a second term for Bola Tinubu. Say no to all these kind of criminalities we see in leadership. Since Tinubu returned to Turkey, has he deemed it necessary to speak to Nigerians and say, okay, I've heard the news around insecurity ravaging the country. I'm on it. We are working towards, rescuing the situation. No, he will keep us dumb and deaf and prepared to use money to influence voters in the next election. Really so sad. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification for more. Thank you.